This video will demonstrate the disassembly and reassembly of the Remington Model 870 shotgun, one of the most popular and common brands of slide-action shotguns in the world. As with any firearm, the first step is to ensure all ammunition has been removed from the weapon. My previous video, Basic Firearms Tutorial number 8, demonstrates this process. After all ammunition has been removed, open the action by pressing the action release here at the front of the trigger guard and retracting the slide. Run the slide back about halfway. Then release the magazine cap. Some models may have a magazine extension tube here instead. In those cases, the spring will be longer and under more pressure, so you'll have to take care to control the spring as it's removed. I can demonstrate that partly with this model because this sporting model includes a plug to restrict its magazine capacity, which also compresses the spring. The spring may be removed separately so it doesn't flop around during further disassembly. With the cap removed, the barrel can be removed forward. This will usually suffice for routine cleaning and maintenance, but I will now show you how to access the inside of the receiver and remove the internal parts for cleaning. All of this should be performed with the safety on to prevent negligent release of the hammer in the trigger group, which may cause internal damage. Due to age, wear, or manufacturing differences over time, the model was introduced in 1951, these receiver pins may be tight or loose. Use a non-marring tool, like this brass punch, to drive them out. The trigger group may then be removed from the bottom of the receiver. You may have to slide it forward a bit to clear one of the side components. Disassembly of the trigger group is not recommended, just give it a good wiping. With the cap and spring removed, the magazine follower may also be removed. To remove the bolt, run the slide forward and press the left side shell stop. The slide, bolt, and bolt carrier will all come off forward together. These may all be cleaned. Like the Mossberg 500, the Remington 870 does have a firing pin return spring, and its locking block forces the firing pin to retract, meaning it's nearly impossible to get this to fire out of battery. It is a good design. The shell stops in the Remington are usually staked in place and not removable. If those require service, you'll probably have to take it to a real gunsmith. Likewise, the ejector is riveted into place. You can see the shade of that rivet right there, and that is not going to be user serviceable. Which is one reason I prefer the Mossberg. It's a much more simple and robust design that the end user can perform more maintenance on himself. However, the Remington is prettier and has a reputation for smoothness, and a lot of top competitors prefer the Remington. Furthermore, the Remington has a pass-through design for its magazine tube, meaning you can easily add an extension tube, unlike most models of the Mossberg. There are more accessories available for the Remington than the Mossberg. Reassembly is the obvious reverse, mostly. carrier and the bolt go together. The slide goes back on the magazine tube. The bolt and carrier go onto the action bars. Then you press the right shell stop. And there's much jiggling. And then the left shell stop. Yes, I rehearsed that before I recorded this. The trigger group is reinserted. This side component here, you may have to jiggle quite a bit to get that into the receiver walls. The two receiver pins are replaced. Some of the scope mounts, the aftermarket telescopic sight mounts for this model, replace these receiver pins, as do some of these side saddle shell carriers. Using a non-marring tool if necessary, this is a brass hammer. Gently tap those back in. Make sure you haven't lost your magazine follower. Reinsert the magazine spring. Reinsert the barrel. I will reinsert the plug. And replace the magazine cap, which will ratchet into place. Perform a function test. Trigger reset. All is well. This should conclude the disassembly and reassembly of the Remington Model 870 slide-action shotgun, one of the most common and popular weapons of its type in the entire world. If you have any questions, please leave them in comments, and if you found this video useful, please consider a charitable donation through my website's PayPal button. Thank you.